ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of 7 Minutes. I'm your host, Chris Wright. I'm with my partner here, Beverly Swim.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Listen, we have the pleasure today of interviewing real estate extraordinaire Lorenzo Murray, captain of the home team. I'm just always so excited to talk to you, Lorenzo, because you always have this smile on your face. Seem like you're enjoying what you do. What's up?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. How are you, Bev?
Great. I'm so thankful for you to share with us tonight.
Well, it's an honor to be here, and I appreciate you guys inviting me.
Well, I understand that you have community service is huge with you, and as a fellow Rotarian, I want to commend you for all the work you've done, and also serving as past president.
Thanks. Rotary is definitely very near and dear to me. It's something I found when I relocated here to the capital, and could not see myself without it.
Weren't you one of the people who started the Capital Region Rotary chapter?
So I came in, great question. I came in right after, I was one of the founding members, but I came in after Jennifer Hendricks and Jim McFawn and a few others had already formed it. Very small group at the time. That was back in 2013. And from there, I'm sorry, did you say something?
No, I just said, wow, I didn't 2013. That seems like so long ago.
Forever ago, right? Yeah.
Right.
So, we went from there to, I'm now a part of the Albany Club, but, the one thing I'd say about Rotary in the Capitol is, while there is over 30 individual locations or groups there, that we are very well tight-knit as a district, which is great.
Yeah, it is. The start of that chapter was very important because it started a whole new era in Rotary, because it was, every week, and there was all this structure where you guys really were innovative and brought a new level of energy to Rotary. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, networking is important. And I think it's important for, the whole point of Rotary is to give back to your community, to give back not internationally, and being able to do that. Not everybody can meet weekly, right? Today's society doesn't always allow for people to have the traditional norms of yesteryear. So being able to be a part of a group that allowed me to, to pivot and do something different has been great. And to see that kind of repeat itself across the country and across the nation has been great.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been in real estate since 2009. You're licensed in both New York and Massachusetts. And since 2018, you've had your own team, your home team it's called, with 10 agents and 2 admin. I mean, how did you, first of all, I understand that's really hard to make the decision to start a team, and now you've done it, and you've done it so successfully. How did you do that?
It's another great question. It's first of all, getting into real estate. I think fun fact for me, I'm a part of, separate from the team, I'm a part of 6 realtors in my family. So I'm married into a family. We all work at different brokerages across the capital. Some are at KW, some are here, some are there, and what that's allowed for me to do is I'm constantly living, breathing, and eating. Now, my previous life before real estate was corporate America, right? And so turnover and was one of our number one controllable things that usually people join a company, they leave a boss, right? And in real estate, constantly, it's almost every year, it's like, where are you going to be next year? Just because you worked at Acme Real Estate this year, you could very well be at XYZ Real Estate next year. And some people, we know that the turnover rate in real estate is extremely high. And usually that's because lack of support, lack of knowledge, lack of just being able to figure out how to crack that nut. And some of that's laziness too, I'm sure. But, a lot of people don't wake up every day and say, how can I invest in something and then leave it within 2 to 3 years later, right? They joined it because they wanted to do it. And because I used to foster collaboration in my previous life, working in corporate America. It was a component that I missed, and it worked out well. So creating my own team was great, and we all have very similar visions, and the rest is history.
That's outstanding. And I know that I was very thankful to be a part of a training session with Hunt that you invited me to, and saw how supportive they are as a brokerage and all the different marketing aspects that they help you with. So I'm assuming that has played a great part in your team's success.
Yeah, I think it's important that no matter where you land, there's that old adage, right? The grass is not always greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. I think it's important for you to find components that are going to help you succeed at that point in time. And, if that train should ever stop, then, you can get off and get on another train and see where that takes you. But if the train that you're on is giving you what you need, and you're constantly hitting new heights and exploring new opportunities, and you're getting that support, it takes a lot to rebrand yourself. People do business with you, and regardless of what your color shirt you're wearing or hat you're toting, they want to do business with you. And once they've established that trust, when you start and stop, and you're rebranding yourself over and over again, it kind of cuts into your performance. So, having the ability to work with a company that allows me to be a visionary and supports me in what I want, and has a boutique feel, but a corporate touch and corporate pockets. That's I'm allowed and able to do a lot with that.
Yeah, I try to come up with some eclectic kind of questions, and you touched on something that I had thought about asking you, which is you coming from corporate America. What advice would you give to one of your previous bosses?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a great question. Wow. That was not in the list. What advice? What advice is, there are different ways to get to the same result, right? And I think oftentimes in corporate America, it's my way or the highway, right? You got a lot of big egos, and I think in any industry, but especially in corporate America. And I think allowing your crew to be different. I learned a lot in my past life, and it was because of them. I would say the success that I have today, a good 60 to 75% of that comes from, I've always been truly blessed to be put in situations, especially in my last company that I worked for. I just had some great support. And again, they allowed me to think outside the box, be different. I was constantly being challenged, and to share my ideas, and that's what you need, there were many times where I was like, oh my goodness, I love what I do. I don't know if you've ever had this, but you're like, if I'm not doing this right now, what would I do? And I used to ask myself that all the time. I had no idea. In fact, I remember the last day that I left my last corporate job, I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do. And I didn't want to go work at another retail store. And so real estate, the ability to coach, teach, manage, support others, that was my passion. And so real estate allows you to do that. You can do that with your clients, and you can do it with your team members.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really collaborative group.
Yeah, they're the best.
So, you know what, about 2 years ago, I think 2021, you and I sat on a panel, and we were talking about the disparaging numbers between Black-owned housing. Is that changing? Do you see it getting better? What do you think? What do you see about this?
Oh man, that is a hot button for me. Thank you for.
I know it's a hot button for you. That's why I wanted to bring it up, because right here in this area, we have a small demographic of African Americans and Hispanics. But when you go home to Boston, because you're a Boston kid, you probably see it a little bit deeper. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. So, growing up, I grew up in the inner city always. I grew up in a borough called Roxbury, which is a borough of Boston.
New
And I was
edition, baby.
Boston.
New edition.
New edition. There you go, right? There you go.
There you go.
So literally right around the corner from where they lived. So, I grew up in a city where, the people that I saw during the day, the majority looked like me, and at night they definitely looked like me, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now, my parents bought their first house in 1983 for $80,000, and it sold 3 years ago for $750,000, right? So it's the gentrification is at its finest, and what I'm seeing there, or what I saw there when I was ignorant to real estate, is what I see here, right? I see people door knocking. Hey, I'll write you a check on the spot right now, and next thing you know, that person's moving out. They're flipping it, and next thing you know, it's back on the market for an amount that current homeowner or that tenant can't afford. And so, to go back to your point, am I seeing an improvement on closing that gap? I think that we are consistently at the same spot that we were 2 years ago. So we're not losing traction here in the capital, but we're not gaining any either. And I think that is something that is really going to take an all hands on deck approach. I think challenging, the biggest tussle here, the biggest tussle that I'm seeing here is people are quick to think that closing the gap is related to fair housing, and that they're the same, and they're not. They're not. Fair housing is one component, right? And it's a very important component, but closing that gap is, you've got a demographic, and we need to be able to show, for whatever reason, hey, listen, if you choose to rent, it's just that, it's a choice. It's not because you have to, it's because you want to.
Right. Interesting. So, like, we have more education than we did 10 years ago. Economically, I think we're a little bit smarter than we were 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
We don't fall for the okie doke as much as, you know what I mean? So, like, we're more informed is what I should say. What else needs to change?
We have more funding.
We have more funding.
Available.
There's more grants available. There's more resources. Where's the shortcoming? What's missing?
Well, Chris, I think think back to when I think back to 10. You just said 10 years ago is when I got my license, right?
Okay.
And I could literally, I think by nature, we as a society, we tend to do business with people that we can relate to, right? Whether we look like that person, we sound like that person, we're from the same area, right? Whatever, right? We just tend to do business with people that we can identify. And when I got into the industry, there was a significant gap in the people of color, period, right? When you look at realtors and people of color, and I'm glad to see that number has grown over the years.
Well, that's because you took them all.
But now, shout out to this. There's some others that are out there.
When I used to recruit and I couldn't get a black realtor. They were all, when I was going to Lorenzo's team.
Well, listen, we are outside, but there are other groups that are here that are represented, and I shout out to them for doing so.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, to your point, because there's more resources, I think there are more voices, right? Not everybody's running to Henry Johnson and Livingston.
Right.
Not everybody's running to Clinton and Judson to educate the community. Let's keep it above.
Right.
So because there are more people who can relate to those communities, who can get into those communities and educate, or are willing to educate those communities and not be fearful to step into those communities,
Right.
we have a chance. We
Right.
have a greater chance. But with that, it takes time. And so I'm glad to see, and I encourage more people who, regardless of what they look like, if there are many people who are Caucasian and they love going into the city. If you're about it, let's do it. I don't care what you look like. Let's educate those communities that don't get the same level of education elsewhere. I've got a teammate, Khadijah, and she's her passion right now is getting into the schools and teaching about generational wealth. That's huge.
It is huge.
She's amazing.
Yes, she is. I love her. I love her spirit. She's awesome.
Absolutely.
That is a rarity.
How much do you think the lack of inventory is having an effect on this?
So something that Jared James said last year, and I never forgot it. He said, we talk about this lack of inventory, and again, I got my license in 2013. In 2013, we were below 6 months of inventory, right? So 6 months is the sweet spot. I have yet to work in the 10 years I've had my license. I've yet to work in a market where there was an abundance of inventory. So I say that to say that because there's lack of inventory, you've got to make it, right? You can't just say, oh, there's no inventory. Well, okay, well, this is where you want to live? Okay, I'll be right back. Knock on the door. Hey, my client here wants to buy your house, right? That's right. We do it with letters.
Right, that's what you got to do.
You do what you got to do.
I've done it.
We've all exactly. So to answer your question, Bev, there are challenges, but that's where brainstorming and partnering together and thinking outside the box becomes critical. And you look at what other cities are doing across the country, even within our own state, Buffalo, Rochester, what are they doing? And how can we implement what they're doing here in the capital?
Right. Yeah.
Hot topic for me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Bev, you have anything else? We're at that 24th minute.
Oh, already? Oh,
I know.
He's such a ask him any of my fun questions.
Go ahead. No, you got time because I think we started a little late, but go ahead.
All right. What has surprised you most about your life or business?
That's good. So what has surprised me most is where my life has taken me, where this journey, it's been a fun journey. When I was a kid, back when I was 9-10 years old, I was summer job for my mom at this museum, a National Center of Afro-American Artists in Boston. And there was a radio contest to see Mariah Carey at Proctor's in Schenectady. And I had never heard of Schenectady, New York. And I called and I won these tickets. And my mom knew the DJ, and that was the only reason why I was able to go. And I went on this bus, and we went out here to Schenectady. It was just myself and a whole bunch of strangers on this bus. That would never happen in today's world, ever, right? So I see Mariah Carey perform at the Proctor's, and we come back home that evening, and I remember thinking, oh, I'll probably never see that town again. Who would know that someone said, hey, listen, in 30 years, you're going to be in Schenectady weekly.
Hey, here's the funny part. That was the Vision of Love days.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and the reason I say it is because I'm thinking Mariah Carey Proctor, she had to be like new, like a small artist.
Approach. And she wasn't doing autographs. She was so small time. She had just come out. And I had a poster, and I even got a chance to go backstage, and I was excited. And Coach Willie Mays was the DJ.
Wow!
And I went to go ask for can I have an autograph? And she said, "I'm sorry, sweetheart, I don't do autographs." I'm like, what? So never forgot.
She was a new artist.
She was a new artist.
She wasn't the all I want for Christmas artist yet.
That's right. Lorenzo, I know that you are a passionate learner. Like you're always educating yourself, your team. Do you have any suggestions for us about books or podcasts or anything like that?
So I'm a Grant Cardone junkie.
Okay.
Power of 10X, man. I'm a Grant Cardone junkie. There is a book, I can't remember the name of the author. Great book. It's called "It's Your Ship." Um, it's about a Navy guy who had to, learn how to win over his crew, and he was assigned to this ship, and it was underperforming. And I think about that because when you run a team, that is your ship. So you've got different personalities. You've got to be able to be a chameleon of sorts and camouflage and work with your crew. And then my other book I would say is Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert
Good book.
Kiyosaki. Yeah, I mean, if you got to look at that.
Lorenzo, I got a book I want to recommend to you.
Please do.
Have you heard of the author Weldon Long?
No.
So Weldon Long has a book called The Upside of Fear: How One Man Broke the Cycle of Prison, Poverty, something like that. And the reason I wanted to recommend that to you, because you just talked about inner city and uplifting people. Oh, The Upside of Fear: How One Man Broke the Cycle of Prison, Poverty, and Addiction.
Oh, it's awesome.
And he did 13 years in prison, and now he's a billionaire. And his prison time was done for armed robbery, assault, battery. He was in and out. And he just talked about how he got out and changed his life based on values, ethics, and character. He is such an amazing guy. But the other book he had that you'll love is called The Power of Consistency and Consistency Selling, because he's a master salesman.
Is he really?
Oh, he's amazing. And he said, half the things I know about selling, I learned in prison.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. So he's amazing. But I wanted to give you that book because I know you would enjoy it. He's a Grant Cardone lover as well.
There's some brilliant people that are institutionalized,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You have anything else though, Beverly?
Lorenzo, what do you have going on in 2023? What are your goals? What do you have planned?
Goals for the team is 50 million this year. That's our milestone, right?
That's awesome.
And this year really is just about family, right? So Phil and I are on the adoption journey. That's our personal goal, right? So we've got those are probably our two biggest milestones. And Phil's got his hands in multiple buckets right now. So helping him grow his business is another personal challenge of mine.
Yeah.
Hey, did you I know you're a dog dad and you lost your dog. Did you replace your dog?
No, can't do it.
I know.
I know.
Tough, man. It's every time I look at my phone, it's there's a rotation of photos. I've thought about it. I've looked at it, but I'm not there yet. I got a ways to go.
Well, you can't replace a child either, so I can understand how that is for you.
Yeah, man. No, thanks for asking, but no, it's I'm thinking probably we'll do child first, and then we'll make new memories with another dog in the future.
Well, once you have a child, they're going to want a dog. So that's
exactly my point.
Yeah, I never wanted a dog, and my daughter kept asking and asking and asking. Then it just compiled. So had to get a dog. But all right. Well, listen, Lorenzo, man, I really, really appreciate you spending the time with us. I'm sure people are going to benefit from listening to this. You have any questions for us?
No, man. Listen, I love what you're doing. This is definitely thinking outside the box at its finest.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, I absolutely love it. So, thanks for making it happen, and good luck and God bless.
You too, man.
I'll see you out there.
You too. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care, brother.